So when we talk about poverty, when we talk about wealth, we have to first acknowledge the centrality of the moral and the spiritual. And what I mean by that is we have to fundamentally believe that poor brothers and sisters of all colors, genders, regional identities, sexual orientations, religion have exactly the same value as the well-to-do. That's a fundamental moral commitment. And the only way you can account for the level of poverty, 1 out of 2 black and brown children under 6 years old living in poverty in the richest nation in the history of the world, the only way you can account for that is a callousness and indifference, not just in high places, but even lukewarmness among the middle classes who are so preoccupied with their individual situation, they've lost sight of brothers and sisters who are in hoods and barrios, and white brothers and sisters, red brothers and sisters on reservations, and then the decrepit school systems, and then the indecent housing, and then unemployment, and then mass incarceration, and then the various attacks, and then the spiritual warfare. The spiritual warfare, which is to convince them that, lo and behold, they give up or sell out rather than straighten their backs up and fight for justice. That's what this campaign is about in general. I know we're not here to talk primarily about the campaign, because I want to salute Working Hero Action. And they're going to interview all the different presidential candidates. That's fine. But the litmus test is going to be, how committed are they in execution? Not just pretty words, not just discerning their deepest conviction about what the latest polls say, but I'm talking about who are they really, and who has been consistent. That's this issue of poverty and wealth as it relates to this election. And of course, that's one of the reasons why I'm with my dear brother Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I would say to my brothers and sisters of all colors here in this magnificent state of South Carolina, I challenge you, can you meet the standards of the great ones who have already come out of this state? Do you really know who Robert Smalls was? The creator of the first public school system in the whole nation.
Right here.
Because he had an understanding of greatness. Somewhere he read, he or she is greatest among you will be your servant. We'll focus on the least of these. We'll focus on those catching hell. Do you really know who Marion Wright Edelman is? South Carolina. The great prophetic voice building on the legacy of Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker and Martin Luther King Jr. and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, still strong at 79 years old in a city that used to be chocolate called Washington, D.C. Do you really know who Jesse Jackson is? From this town. That this magnificent vanilla brother named Bernie Sanders stood with a chocolate brother named Jesse Jackson in 1988 and said, we need to talk about poverty. We need to talk about wealth. We need to bring all of us together no matter what color, because we have a commitment to integrity and principle, and we're concerned about the least of these. But you have to have courage. We've been living in an age for 40 years where too many folk are still scared and intimidated. Walking around laughing when it ain't funny and smiling when... You got to straighten your backs up. You got to call into question some of your milquetoast centrist leadership who's not telling the truth and say, we have voices too. We concerned about something too. And if you really have that kind of care, you really have that kind of concern, then you have courage, then you have a moral consistency. What I love about this brother is not that he's a God, not that he's a deity. He's a human being trying to be morally consistent and bear witness in such a way that he can bring us together and change this nation. That's what we call